Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. There are truths in life that almost everyone knows, but very few people are brave enough to say out loud. Not because they are false, but because they make people uncomfortable. They challenge the stories we tell ourselves. They force us to confront things we would rather ignore. So instead, society creates polite versions of the truth, safer versions, filtered versions. But today, we are not doing that. Today, we are going to talk about the things people are afraid to say. Not to offend anyone, not to judge anyone, but to understand reality a little better. Because sometimes the truth we avoid is the truth that can change our lives. Born. Hard work alone doesn't guarantee success. One of the biggest myths society teaches us is simple: work hard and you will succeed. It sounds beautiful, it sounds fair, it sounds motivating. But reality is more complicated. There are millions of people in the world working incredibly hard every single day. Construction workers waking up at 5 a.m., nurses doing double shifts, cleaners working late into the night, farmers under the hot sun. And yet many of them struggle financially their entire lives, not because they are lazy, but because hard work alone is not enough. Success often depends on opportunity, access, information, timing, and sometimes luck. That doesn't mean hard work is useless. Hard work matters. But the truth people are afraid to say is this: hard work without strategy can trap people in cycles of survival instead of progress. And once you realize that, your entire approach to life begins to change. Part 2. Many people pretend to be happy. Scroll through social media for a few minutes. You will see vacations, luxury cars, perfect relationships, smiling faces. But what you often don't see is anxiety, debt, loneliness, fear. Many people today are performing happiness instead of living it, not because they want to lie, but because society quietly pressures everyone to look successful. No one wants to appear like they are struggling, so people curate their lives. They show the highlight reel, but hide the behind-the-scenes reality. And this creates a strange illusion where everyone looks happy, while many people secretly feel lost. The truth people are afraid to say is that many adults are still trying to figure life out, even the ones who look like they have everything together. Part 3. Life is not always fair. From childhood, many of us are taught that life is fair, that good people will be rewarded, and bad people will be punished. But real life does not always follow this script. Sometimes dishonest people get ahead. Sometimes kind people struggle. Sometimes the hardest working person in the room gets ignored. And sometimes the loudest person gets the opportunity. This doesn't mean we should become bitter or cynical, but it does mean we should stop expecting the world to automatically reward effort and goodness. The truth people are afraid to say is that fairness is something humans try to create, but the world itself does not guarantee it. Understanding this can be painful, but it can also be empowering, because once you stop expecting fairness, you start focusing on positioning yourself wisely. Part 4. Some relationships are built on convenience. Relationships are often portrayed as pure, unconditional connections, and sometimes they truly are, but not always. In many situations, relationships are built on convenience, shared environments, mutual benefits, similar circumstances, workplace friendships, school friendships. Even some romantic relationships exist because two people happen to meet at the right time. The uncomfortable truth people are afraid to say is that if circumstances change, some relationships fade away. Not always because anyone did something wrong, but because the environment that created the bond no longer exists. Understanding this can actually help us appreciate the few relationships that remain strong through time and change. Those are the rare ones, the ones built on deeper connection rather than convenience. Part 5. Society rewards confidence more than competence. Many people assume the most knowledgeable person will always rise to the top. But in many environments, confidence speaks louder than competence. The person who speaks boldly, the person who appears certain, the person who knows how to present themselves, often gets attention faster than the quiet expert. This doesn't mean knowledge doesn't matter. It does. But presentation matters too. The truth people are afraid to say is that perception can influence opportunity just as much as ability. And learning how to communicate your value can sometimes be just as important as the value itself. Part 6. Many people live according to other people's expectations. Think about how many life decisions are influenced by other people's opinions, career choices, marriage, lifestyle, even where people choose to live. Sometimes people follow paths not because they truly want them, but because they fear disappointing others. Parents, friends, society, culture. The truth people are afraid to say is that many people spend years chasing lives they were told to want, rather than lives they actually desire. And for some people, it takes decades to realize it. Part 7. Money solves more problems than people admit. There is a popular saying, money can't buy happiness. And while that may be true in some situations, it is not the full story. Money may not guarantee happiness, but it can remove many sources of stress. Healthcare, housing, education, security, time. Financial stability can create space for people to focus on meaningful things in life. The truth people are afraid to say is that money is not everything. But lacking money can make life significantly harder. Part 8. Some people only support you when you stay small. One of the most uncomfortable truths about growth is this: not everyone will celebrate it. Sometimes when people change, improve, or pursue bigger goals, it disrupts expectations. It challenges the status quo. And occasionally, it makes others uncomfortable. Not necessarily because those people are bad, but because change can highlight insecurities. The truth people are afraid to say is that sometimes the people around us prefer the version of us that feels familiar and predictable. Growth can reveal who truly supports you and who only supported the version of you that stayed the same. Part 9. Failure is more common than success. Success stories are everywhere: books, podcasts, interviews, social media. But what we often see is the final chapter, not the entire story. Behind most successful people are years of mistakes, setbacks, and rejected ideas. Businesses that failed, projects that went nowhere, plans that collapsed. The truth people are afraid to say is that failure is not rare. It is actually incredibly common. But people don't usually talk about it until after they succeed, which creates the illusion that success happens faster and more smoothly than it really does. Part 10. Time is the most valuable resource. Most people spend years chasing money, status, or recognition. But eventually, many realize something surprising. Time is more valuable than all of them, because time cannot be replaced. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose a job and find another. But once time passes, it is gone forever. The truth people are afraid to say is that many people sacrifice years of their lives chasing things that later turn out not to matter. Part 11. Not everyone will like you. One of the most exhausting things in life is trying to be liked by everyone. But the reality is simple. No matter how kind you are, no matter how fair you try to be, some people will misunderstand you. Some people will disagree with you, and some people simply won't like you. Not because of something you did wrong, but because humans are different. The truth people are afraid to say is that universal approval is impossible. And the sooner people accept that, the freer they become. Part 12. Everyone is dealing with something. It is easy to assume that other people have easier lives, but the reality is that everyone carries struggles we cannot see. Health issues, family problems, financial stress, mental battles, personal fears. The truth people are afraid to say is that almost everyone is fighting battles that others know nothing about. And remembering this can make us more patient, more compassionate, and less quick to judge. Conclusion. The world is full of polite conversations and comfortable illusions. But sometimes real growth begins when we confront uncomfortable truths, not to become pessimistic, not to lose hope, but to see reality clearly. Because once we see clearly, we can make better decisions. We can choose better paths, and we can live more intentionally. The truth may not always be easy to hear, but it has a strange way of setting people free. And maybe that is why, even though many people are afraid to say these things, deep down, almost everyone already knows them. I hope you learned something different today. Please don't forget to like and share if you like this type of videos. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.